Welcome to Sense of Style. I'm Stuart, and one of the main reasons I started this channel, aside from liking fragrances, is the fact that I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being bossed around, go do this and go do that. And YouTube allows me to do this just for myself and on my own and write my own rules. And you know what's funny? I was thinking really hard, and I think a lot about my core audience. I have to. I mean, I owe you guys a lot. And you guys do that too. I know for my generation, you know, not a lot of guys my age back then or even now wear a whole lot of fragrances. I think if you're like over 40 and you wear a ton of fragrances, you're doing your own thing too in a lot of cases. You guys are writing your own rules. This video is for you. Now, fragrance number one, I have to admit, it is a very popular fragrance, but it's not even the most popular fragrance in its own line, never mind its own house. Because I think it's really from a different time in many respects. It's from 2020, and that doesn't sound like a different time, but the contexts have changed significantly in 5 years in the fragrance industry. It's been crazy. So I'm talking about Paul Gaultier Le Male Le Parfum. It is popular, but it doesn't even come close to being as popular as Le Male Elixir. This came out in 2020, this came out in 23, and this is still the most iconic fragrance of 2025. And the two times are very different because two things have happened to really change the game. Number one, the massive influx of Middle Eastern clones. I mean, they're everywhere now. And number two, and probably more important, and God bless them, the growth of fragrances among really young guys like Generation Z, and they like sweet fragrances, so everything has gotten sweeter and sweeter. This is the first True Gourmand by Paul Gaultier, and this is from another time. And aside from the toned-down sweetness that this gives you, it's also got iris. And iris, like it or not, is now from another time. You look at what's happened to the Dior Homme line. I mean, it's now a woody line. You look at what happened to Dior Homme Parfum. Yeah, there's iris, but only off the top. Dior Homme Parfum 2025, I'm talking about. Iris off the top, and then it kind of goes away. So all we got left is Dior Homme Intense. So this has iris. It has a toned down sweetness. It's for a guy these days that kind of like me, you know, wants to do something his own way. This is much more my speed, my style. It's got that vanilla and cardamom. It doesn't overwhelm you with sweetness. Love this. Quick quiz for you guys. Think of a fragrance that is very boozy and yet still works. Now, I'm not talking about a fragrance that might have like a boozy note in it, but a very boozy fragrance, definitely boozy masculine feel to it. And it's one that still gets you compliments. It's a tough question. It's a tough question. I thought about that a lot because I think that would be an ideal outside the box signature scent. The only one I could come up with was Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privee because it is really boozy. As a whiskey note here, you can't deny it. It's there. It's always there. It's got some sweetness too, though. It's nicely balanced. It's got amber, it's got chestnut, and it's got some iris. But it's that amber note, that sweetness that makes it seductive. And honest to God, like this one really worked. I think it'd be a fantastic signature scent. I think it'd be a little different than what people wear. I think it'd be more masculine because of the booziness. And honest to God, aside from leather, I think booze is a very masculine kind of feel on fragrances anyway. And I mean, there are a lot of leather fragrances out there. To have a predominantly boozy fragrance, though, to have that as your signature scent, yeah, that's outside the box. That's writing your own rules. At the end of every year, Fragrantica has a year-end poll for Fragrance of the Year. It's a fragrance that was released in the last calendar year, and I love it. I like voting on it. I like finding out who the winner is. I think it adds a little bit of drama. But I have my own Fragrance of the Year, and anyone that, you know, if you buy a couple of fragrances a year, or maybe 3 or 4, you're going to have your Fragrance of the Year. Last year for me, it was L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum for sure. And this year, it's only halfway through, but I guarantee you it's going to be Armani Code Parfum. This fragrance, I think, is iconic. And I got to talk about the release and the comparisons between this, Le Male Le Parfum, and Dior Homme Parfum 2025, because I think those all have a similar vibe. and I think it's important to talk about the similarities between them and the subtleties in the differences. And for me, my favorite of the three is this, mainly because it has more iris than the other two. As I mentioned, you're on Parfum 25, the iris goes away very quickly, and it's kind of hard to pick up the iris in Le Parfum, the Paul Gaultier fragrance, but here, it's the whole way through. Now, this might not be everyone's cup of tea because it does have an aromatic kick to it. Much more so, I think, than the other two. The sage note here, that I don't see a lot of people voting for the sage note on Fragrantica. I don't see a lot of people talking about it, but I think the sage note is more aromatic. I think also you've got bergamot leaf, which is an aromatic, almost herbal kind of feel. And that's the feel that you get. And it's not my favorite, but it's the iris that does it for me. And it's also got a sweet component with the tonka. It doesn't use vanilla, it uses tonka, so it's sweet, mildly sweet. And look, I love it. The performance is solid. The projection is very good. And yeah, fragrance of the year, little bit different than the other two. I don't make a habit of talking about fragrances in back-to-back videos. I like to mix it up, but recently I purchased a fragrance. I talked about it a couple videos ago, and I really undersold it. And I am here to sell it to you because I think it's amazing. It's Eau de Baux by the house of L'Occitane en Provence. And what I love about it is, even though it came out in 2006, and it's a $50 fragrance with kind of a minimalist look and feel. Now that's the part that I emphasized in the last video. The scent profile here is so modern and very similar to a lot of core fragrances that everybody would like. Basically the three that I've been mentioning a lot. Eau de Parfum, Paul Gaultier Le Mal de Parfum, and Your Homme Parfum 2025. I think it fits not exactly like them, but definitely in that vibe. And when you hear the notes, I mean, it's perfect. Vanilla and tonka and cardamom. And right there, that's exactly in the wheelhouse of all those fragrances. Now, it doesn't have iris. Everything else does, but the vibe is still the same. And I think it comes closest to Code Parfum, mainly because of a cypress note, making it a little bit more herbal than the other two. But man, oh man, like it is a fragrance that everybody should be considering for their next purchase because it projects, it smells very modern. The perfumer, not a big name, but she did make Gucci pour Homme too. She did make Ombre Noir by Lalique. She knows what she's doing, and she sure did here. The next fragrance is a unicorn. It's one of those fragrances where if you like masculine fragrances or leather fragrances, it's going to be indispensable in your collection. But it's not a blind buy because it's animalic strong and it can be very challenging. It's Kenzo pour Homme Eau de Parfum. And I mentioned this in my video that I did recently with Chad. And you could tell Chad was not a huge fan. He's very open about his opinions and he said he didn't like it. And I get it. This is not a blind buy because of the amount of leather in it. But if you like leather, if you like really masculine fragrances, it's a unicorn because it's paired with marine notes and it's really fresh and it makes it totally okay to wear a leather fragrance in the summer. There's a lot of marine notes. It's really fresh. But the leather also makes a fragrance last a really long time. Like this is one of the longest lasting fresh fragrances that I've owned. Now it's not as hardcore fresh as a lot of like citrus fragrances, but there's a lot of marine notes in it. I mean, it's fundamentally, I mean, this bottle, it might look black, but it's actually blue. And a lot of people do like it. It's got a really high Fragrantica rating. But yeah, it's definitely not a blind buy because it's challenging. I've been collecting for about 5 years, but I have never spent more than $200 US on a single fragrance, mainly because I have the channel. And if I was to buy something really high-end like Creed or Baccarat Rouge 540 and spend $300 or $400, I could get 4 or 5 fragrances for that price. And it's much easier. That's better bang for the buck when it comes to a channel. But if I was to buy one, if I was to go all out, it would definitely be Creed's Royal Oud. Because this thing, it fits my style, which is outside the box, a little different than everyone else. The number one fragrance from Creed obviously is Aventus. Then you've got your Green Irish Tweed fans. There's a lot of those guys out there too. And even Millésime Impérial. But Royal Oud is its own special brand. I'm liking woody fragrances more and more. There's a musky element here that I like, and this would be it. Recently, I was this close to pressing the button to buy YSL's Kouros because, you know, some days you just scratch that itch to be like Mr. Manly. Now, I didn't do it, mainly because I got this. This is Pour Louis by Oscar de la Renta. I've had this for a long time. And while this is not exactly like Kouros, it came from a very similar time, which is the late 70s, early 80s, where masculine fragrances were king. Now, I do think this is probably closer to Antaeus because this and Antaeus have a lot of leather, whereas Kouros is just more animalic notes. So it's slightly different. But yeah, it scratches that itch of like, I just feel like, you know, smelling like a man today, like really musky and strong. It scratches the itch I need, and I'll put off Kouros for another time. When it comes to writing your own rules, I don't think anyone does that more than people in the mafia. They have their own code of conduct and way of living their life. And Sopranos was, I think, the best TV show of all time. I think it really reflected mafia life in the early 2000s in northern New Jersey beautifully. And the weird thing is Tony Sirico was a real mafia guy, and he was a fragrance guy hardcore, and he had everybody wearing Obsession. Obsession for Men. This came out in 86. But yeah, Sirico loved fragrances. Everyone was wearing this. Now, the weird thing is this is not really what I would call an outside-the-box fragrance. It came from 86, but it doesn't smell like 86. It smells quite modern. The core notes are amber. It's a very amber. Even the color is kind of ambery. They're amber, cinnamon, and myrrh. So it's a dark, sweet, resinous fragrance. It's really good. I have an older bottle, so I get really good performance, which is nice. But even the newer bottles, I had one for a while. Not bad at all. So anyway, if you've watched this video all the way through, I have a couple of things for you because I do appreciate people that do that. I got some news. Aramis by Aramis. This fragrance is an iconic fragrance. I know I have a lot of older viewers that would really like it. But this has now been officially discontinued. It's literally been around since 1966. It had been reformulated, but it is now gone. Now, it's not going to go away completely. I think it takes a good 3 years for it to filter out, for it to be impossible to get, and it turns into eBay. It could go quicker than that. So I just thought I would let everyone know, and you can pick up some bottles. Also, another thing, I don't have any sort of smoking gun. I don't have any concrete evidence, but there is a lot of circumstantial evidence that Chanel is going to be releasing a fragrance in the fall or in the early winter. And again, like, I wish I could guarantee it. I can't, but there's so much vibe going on about it. There's so many people talking about it. I have a couple of sources that point to insider information that say, yes, it's coming out, but they're secondary sources. I don't have anything firsthand. So anyway, well, I'll do this occasionally. Like if you watch the video the whole way through, I'll have a little bit of news for you. And anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.